Hello there, and welcome to another episode of WeAmError.
It's been a while.
Yeah, like always.
Yeah, well, it's like every time we go on holiday, it's just we go on holiday a lot. We've been massively successful with this website. Yep. We've been making a little bit of money with it.
Partying.
So much partying.
Getting drunk.
So much poontang.
Yep.
So much poontang.
That's our lives.
Yep. It's just gone from us being nerds that just go to conventions and just, ogle at the Total War figurines.
Now we go to conventions and
people have to, ogle our figurine.
Oh yeah. Okay, so today we're playing a new game released this month.
Yes.
Called Duskers.
Now you told me a little bit about this, and it sounds kind of interesting.
Pretty awesome game. As you can see, it doesn't look amazing. It's something out of the 80s.
Barely can't have good-looking games anymore.
Yeah.
It's just.
I can imagine this is a really small indie game.
Yeah.
Developed and published by Misfits Attic. No idea who they are. No. But so let me just explain the game a little bit. So you play as a guy that's alone in the universe, and you're trying to figure out what the hell happened to everybody else. Because there's all these derelict ships everywhere, but there's no bodies, nothing on the ships. So you explore these derelict ships through the use of these drones, and you command these drones through the use of, you can control them with your keyboard or whatever, but mainly through commands that you type in the console.
It's like one of those old RPGs.
So you can either control your drone, each drone single, or you can go into like an overview of the ship and control them with other commands, like together. You can say, this drone and this drone should navigate to this room, and this drone should go to there, open this door. You can even, some of the ships have like more than one airlock.
Hang on, so it's actually got like WSAD controls as well as the type-in controls.
So this is the top-down view. So I just saw that guy, that one drone. As you can see, navigate drone 1 to room 4. And then he went. There you go.
Alright.
And then, so when you're on the ship, the main point is to find out what happened, but you're really low on fuel and resources. So you need to gather fuel and scrap. And with scrap, you can buy upgrades for your drones and your ship, and fuel you travel through the universe. And so it looks like, I haven't played a lot, but looks like it's quite a big game. There's this whole universe to explore.
So the entire galaxy or universe has been pretty much left as a graveyard with just a bunch of derelict ships, and it's just this. You're just this one guy going around just scouting all of these ships, just trying to figure out the whole.
Yeah. So as you can see, door A1 is the airlock.
All right.
If there's another airlock, you can actually tell your ship, listen, go dock at this airlock. So let's say there's an airlock on the left side, you move to the right. When you get there, you can tell your ship, go dock there, so you can exit there. Every time you're done, you have to send your drones back to your ship and exit.
So every time you have the same drones, you get into battle or get into a mission, and then you try and get them out. You mentioned something about
your drones have abilities, and you start off with random abilities, like gather, which is used to gather resources. Generate, you use to power generators, as you can see there. So stealth, gather, trap, generator, tow, interface, stealth.
Alright.
And as you explore these ships, you find like destroy drones that you can access, and you can take their abilities and swap it with yours. Some of the drones are just disabled, so you can tow them, like that one drone had a tow ability, and you tow them back to your ship. You can repair it and use that drone. Yeah. So there's this. I haven't seen. There's a bunch of abilities. Like the most important ability is like gather and generate. You always start with, because you need to generate powers to access the doors and terminals and stuff. And stealth is very useful, but motion. You get a motion sensor that tells you like in which room there's motion. So if you see there's motion in a room, or you use stealth and you see there's an enemy in a room, the idea is to close all the doors, open one door, let whatever's inside that room go to another room and trap it in there.
So do you have actual control over the ship while you're there, or do you actually have to have one of the drones there to actually control that part of the ship? For instance, you mentioned that there's...
So, like I said, you can access... You power certain... There's this, like, bigger ships have more than one power outlet or generator or whatever, and it powers certain parts of the ship. So these are smaller ships now in the start, so they only have, like, one generator. And, if there's more than one, you have to generate, like, to access certain parts of the ship and power certain doors. But you can access all the doors through the console. You don't actually have to have a drone in that room.
All right, that's what I mean. You know, I just want to figure out, because that sounds kind of awesome. You know, this really sounds like quite a cool game. Well, I've found myself enjoying a lot more games that I can actually play on one screen and just have something on the other screen in the background. And this game seems like a perfect game for that type of thing. You know, there's not like sound, there's no music. No. I don't hear any music.
This is actually a survival horror game. So later in the game, you saw now. I don't know if you've seen it. That was the enemy. It's like a little robot with guns.
All right.
But later on, we're not going to see it in this video. You actually get these creatures, and because you have a limited view, you don't really see a lot. It's a lot of static and stuff.
Yeah.
So you get these sounds at play, and it actually gets pretty tense.
All right.
Yeah. So we saw there was an enemy, and in that same was down drone.
Yeah, no, this game looks really, really cool. I'm really always intrigued by interesting ideas like this. Sorry, you mentioned the creators. What was the company's name?
Misfits Attic.
I have absolutely no idea what other games they made.
Most likely they only made this game because they develop and publish. It's like one guy.
Yeah, it's quite possible. It's quite possible. Gonna move on to a topic, or you want to mention something else about the game?
Let's just say, the idea that you have to type in like these commands is fun, but it does get a bit tedious. Because especially like the stuff you use a lot, like generator. Every mission you have to use the generator command. I wish there was just like a shorthand notation you can just...
Like hotkeys, like a few macros.
Instead of just typing generator, you just said gen or just G.
It would be nice if this game actually had something like a few macros or something where you can just program it yourself, like a few commands, you know, and then just type one, and then it just follows a set route.
It has an autofill though, which is I guess useful.
All right.
So the topic you wanted to mention?
Yes, I wanted to talk about sandbox games. I want to talk about what makes a good sandbox game. Because I remember one of our friends asking us what type of game she needed to purchase for PS3 because she was bored the weekend or something like that. And I mentioned to her Red Dead Redemption. I don't really know why I have to mention Red Dead Redemption, but I feel like it's one of those games that everybody has to play, though. You know, it's just because that game just did sandbox so well. But then I started thinking, why do I think that game is actually such a good sandbox? Because it's not necessarily action-packed. It's got a little bit of a story, which is quite intriguing to follow. But you know, the sandbox elements that makes the game good. What would happen to be that? What's that? So I thought, would it be, for instance, every time you go on a mission, you sort of have to be like a real cowboy. It's not really like going to just point A, point B, which obviously does happen quite a few times. But if you say want to go and take out a gang hideout, you can't just walk up to straight up into the entrance of the gang hideout and just you know, just expect everything to just go swimmingly perfectly well, because you're probably going to die because they're going to fucking shoot you. So you're going to have to approach it from a little bit of a different angle. So you want to have as much ammo as possible. That means you're going to have to go skin a few animals, get some money for all that ammo, perhaps have a look at what type of weapon you want to purchase, what type of gun you want to take, what is going to be your tactic. Are you going to go in through the front door with a horse, or are you going to lie on a ridge and take him out slowly with a sniper rifle? So all of these things, just to do a single mission, just all of these things that have to come beforehand, you know, so many stuff that needs to be accessed to actually access your final mission, your final thing. But this is just a regular mission. It's just a regular guy. It's just some bounty you're gonna want to go collect just for some money. It's not necessarily something for the story or anything like that. I want to say that is maybe what I would say makes that such a good sandbox game. Perhaps just the fact that it's not just a veneer, just a surface level illusion.
Yeah.
Because I started playing Shadow of Mordor recently, and that's a game that both of us, I think, would agree is not a particularly good sandbox.
It's because... Just because a game is a sandbox doesn't mean it's a good game. It still has to have good mechanics.
No, of course not.
I've been playing now Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah.
And it's the first Assassin's Creed I've ever played. And that's not really a good game. I feel that all these AAA companies, they think, let's just spend all our time making an awesome world, like a big world, with a lot of exploration stuff, and then they skip on the actual mechanics, because with Assassin's Creed, it's pretty as fuck. But like the combat is okay. It's not bad.
The hand-to-hand combat.
The ship combat is kind of fun. It's not bad.
The ship combat is really.
I can't really play that game for more than an hour. Then I'm really bored.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that might be a poor example of perhaps what a sandbox might be, because I think most Assassin's Creeds might be a poor sandbox. I mean, if you take any of the Assassin's Creeds and make it just a linear game with just large sets, basically, you're just. You're in Jerusalem, but you're not in like the entirety of Jerusalem. You're just in a part of Jerusalem. This is where you're going to be your mission. I think if you make that game a linear game, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Because
but that's the same with Shadow of Mordor.
That's the same with Shadow of Mordor. I think we've just come across what might make a good sandbox game. If you can't make your game anything other than a sandbox game...
That's what I wanted to say. If you can take that mechanic from Red Dead Redemption and put it in a linear game, you can, and it's going to work.
I mean, if you take Shadow of Mordor and you just remove the whole sandbox part of it, you know, running around and stuff, and basically they just give you, okay, so here's an orc town. This is where a bunch of orcs live. It is run by 2 people, and your job would be to kill the underling and then the master of the place. So that would be a straightforward, basic linear mission. Make your way through this part of the orc town to the other side. But that's not really how the game is. The game is, there is an orc somewhere on the map, go kill him. Yeah. Nothing in between, really. I mean, you can interrogate the underlings, find out a little bit more about his strengths and weaknesses, but that's not necessarily changing the gameplay that much. That's just giving you a little bit, I don't know even if it's an edge, because hopefully the guy is, you know, afraid of wargs, and, you know, hopefully there's some wargs nearby. Otherwise, all that extra stuff you did was useless. But you take Red Dead Redemption, and you remove any of the sandbox, and it's not going to be the same game. I mean, that's what Red Dead 1 was. Red Dead Revolver was a straightforward linear shoot.
You can do the same with GTA.
Yeah. You can't take GTA. Maybe you can take GTA and make it a linear game. I don't know, but
because it's fun. Like, the story is good. The characters are awesome.
The closest I would think that you can actually get to a linear GTA is probably Max Payne 3. You know, that's about as...
By the way, you're still going to have to leave in, like, car chases and stuff. Because cars are a big game, part of the game. You can make a linear game, but cars are still going to be a big part of the game.
It's not going to be the same. If you take GTA and you remove the sandbox, you remove the fact
It's not going to be the same, but it's still going to be fun.
I wonder, because the whole part of GTA that makes it fun is that well, it's part of the fun. It's not all the fun. Is maybe that random thing.
Yeah, obviously.
But not just that. The fact that if you are being chased by the cops, it's your... If you fuck it up, it's totally your fault. You know, if you drove into a parking lot by accident, that's your fault. Yeah. You know, it's not like the game trying to trick you in any way.
Yeah.
I wonder... I don't think GTA 5 would work if you remove the sandbox parts. But most of the sandbox games coming out now, if you take Black Flag, remove the sandbox part, and you just make it, okay, so you are a pirate, and your job is to get from this port to another port and just raid all the ships on your way there. It would be a fun game, but it's just got all this extra shit along the way that doesn't need to be there, that doesn't really add to the sandbox experience. It just adds to the content. Just adding content is not making a sandbox game.
And Assassin's Creed does it that heavily. All the collectibles and shit.
Excessively. Not just that, but any of the Warner Brothers games. You know, any of the Max, the Shadow of Mordor, the Batmans, all of them go crazy with the collectibles. But I can guarantee you there's a lot of collectibles in GTA 5 as well as in Red Dead. But completing the game, you don't feel like you've missed out on anything.
Yeah.
It's like completing, say, Batman Arkham City. You feel like you've missed out on a lot because you look at that end progress thing and it's just 50% completed.
Especially with the Riddler stuff.
So much of the Riddler stuff being added. Just, I don't know who the people are that play that. Like, how many of the people are completionists? What's the statistic?
I don't know, but I know
being
there's a few,
completionists?
but they're probably like less than normal people. Normal people.
I want to say there's a lot less of them.
I have to say, when I play Assassin's Creed, I do actually sometimes go out of my way to get some of this stuff. But as I'm doing it, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with it? This is just like wasting your time.
Don't get me wrong, I'd certainly say that there's perhaps some sort of... I mean, Assassin's Creed 2 had like the one of the collectibles you had to do was for Altair's armor, like the old assassin's armor. So you had to get like these 4 or 5 keys to unlock some sort of safe. It's exactly the same as in Black Flag. It's exactly the fucking same principle. And but each and every one of those components you had to find for this gate had like a massively intricate puzzle you had to...
yeah, but that's fine. I'm talking about like, go get this shiny stone.
Yeah, catch the leaf, or catch the paper that's blowing around in the wind. That's really what Altair did. That's really what Ezio did. That's really what... Arno, that's the Assassin's Creed 4 guy. Is that what he did? He really ran around on the rooftops
chasing paper.
chasing fucking papers. So yeah. I think what we've established
the conclusion is
a
good sandbox game is the sandbox game that you can remove the sandbox and still have a good game.
No, that you can't remove the sandbox.
No, you should be able to remove the sandbox.
That's why I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say that a good sandbox is a game that can't be done without the sandbox parts. You can't have a Red Dead Redemption without the massive treks through the desert, without the massive hunt for money.
It comes down to just the basics, the combat mechanics, the characters, the story.
That's why it's not going to be the same game.
I'm not saying it's going to be the same game.
But that's what I want, though. The Red Dead Redemption was a good, great, excellent
Assassin's
game.
Creed is also not going to be the same game if you remove this.
It's going to be a better game because there's less of the bullshitty bullshit.
Yeah, but my point is that if you remove the sandbox from Assassin's Creed, it's going to be a boring, generic game.
If you remove the sandbox from Assassin's Creed.
Because you're just left with the generic, the basic combat mechanics, the basic...
Would it really? Because you'll be forced as a developer to every time come up with a new thing. You can't just make a city and have the same missions every time in the same city.
If you just take the game we have now and you remove the sandbox, you're left with this really generic game. With a story I don't really care about. I know a lot of people like the story, but I don't really...
That's why I'd say a good sandbox is going to be a sandbox game that you can't remove the good... That's why I'm saying that Assassin's Creed is a bad sandbox, because if you remove the sandbox part from it, it's still going to be as bad as it is, you know. But you remove Red Dead Redemption, you don't make it a great game anymore. You make it less of a game. It might still be good, but it's going to be less than a great game. That's why I say Red Dead's a great game, because you can't remove the sandbox. If you remove the sandbox, it's going to be a shittier game. But Assassin's Creed's going to be equally as shitty as it is now, because even if they do remove the sandbox stuff, it's still going to be a generic game, and it's now a generic ass game. So there it is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. My idea is just, if you remove the sandbox from Red Dead, you're left with a game with fun combat and a good story.
But it's going to be worse than what it was.
But then what you're basically saying is that game is fun just because it's sandbox.
That's what I mean. No.
Combat mechanics.
No, it's because it's a sandbox, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that game is great because it's a sandbox. You can't have that, you can't try and take that and put it in somewhere else. It's not going to work. You can't...
Okay, I haven't played Red Dead. Yeah. But I have played good sandbox games like GTA. If you remove the sandbox there, because GTA, the shooting is fun. The characters are awesome. The story is good. The story is okay. It's not great, but the characters are amazing.
Yeah.
You get really attached to those characters. You want to see what happens to them. So you remove the sandbox, you're still left with awesome characters, fun combat.
But would it be less of a game? Would it be a worse game?
It will be less of a game, obviously. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Makes it good. You know, so what the question was what makes it
GTA
good?
definitely. I mean, the sandbox GTA is even more in GTA than Red Dead.
Perhaps, yeah.
I played a little bit of Red Dead, and I felt that, not enough to actually have an opinion about the game, but I did felt that the world is very, very dead and quiet, which makes sense. It's a desert.
Yeah.
But where it's GTA, it's very alive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can really in GTA. You know, you can say in all of the GTAs ever, you can just say, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to fuck around.
Exactly.
I don't know if you can do that in Red Dead.
Yeah, I guess you can sort of, but it's not going to work out as good. You can't go full. You can go full renegade and shoot everybody, but that means everybody's gonna want to shoot you.
Yeah.
So you don't want that necessarily. But yeah, I don't know. GTA, like I said, isn't gonna be GTA anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be a worse game if you remove its sandbox qualities.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, and
That's what I mean. You know, it's gonna be a bad if a game can remove the sandbox elements. Then it should. You know, if it can't work without sandbox, then by all means make it a sandbox. That's why I say fuck Shadow of Mordor, fuck any of the Warner Brothers sandbox, fuck Assassin's Creed, fuck them all. They got to try something new.
Yeah.
It's about time. I mean, Assassin's Creed has been told 3 games now already, like, we don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
We are sick of it. We don't want it. We don't want your Unity. We don't want your fucking Chronicles. We don't want your what's the one in Britain? That one, Syndicate. We don't want any of those.
Yeah.
We were happy with just and we've even told them with Black Flag, we don't want this, but thanks for the ships. That's literally what we told them.
Yep.
We all told them, like, we don't want this, but thanks for the ships.
But people still buy it. They still make money. And you're still gonna get another one.
I don't understand it. Like, that's like a bunch of real fans. Like,
I actually met some of these people.
Yeah.
But just they like Assassin's Creed a lot more than they should.
You know, these people don't like Final Fantasy too. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that one.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. Fuck those fucking.
Final Fantasy 7 wasn't bad.
How much did you play it?
I put a few hours in it. Only that's. I think it's more maybe just nostalgia.
I think the last real Japanese game I really played and sort of enjoyed was probably Metal Gear Solid 4.
This is a funny part. I think it's at the end where I'm trying to escape from this thing that's chasing me, and eventually, it kills 2 of my droids. I think it's over here, and then I just get stuck in this room because the droid that powers the doors was killed, and I'm busy turning my other droid, so I'm just stuck in this room.
So you can't do anything now.
I think it's gonna come now. I don't know. We can probably end it here. It's gonna be like a few more minutes. 2 more minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been WeAmError. I certainly do hope you guys enjoyed this newest video of ours. Follow the tweets, do the likes, do the subscriptions.
Check out this game. It's a lot of fun.
I'd certainly recommend it.
Pretty
It looks
cheap.
pretty
I
awesome.
think it's like
$20.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.